Hi, welcome to Showskaters podcast episode 3 with Alex Wilfand, the president of ICE Creative Entertainment. Alex has been a producer for over 10 years, working with Disney parks, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, Dolly Parton Stampede, international tours, and non-ice skating shows. Let's get into a sizzle video with him, and then we'll bring on Alex. Welcome, Alex. How are you, my friend?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks for having me on this. I'm excited and I'm excited for everything that you're doing. I think it's awesome and happy to be here.
Amazing, amazing. How's your day been today? And you did say you're not very well at the moment, didn't you?
Oh man, just recovering from some COVID. What I think is COVID, I don't know. I've been traveling so much and I feel like my body was just like, no, it's time for you to sleep for a couple days. So got my sleep, feeling a little bit better. So yeah.
So I'm really grateful that you've joined us, even though you're under the weather a little bit. Do you want to give everyone a little bit of a background of who Alex is? Who are you?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So I grew up in Massachusetts. I was a competitive figure skater for most of my life. Then I toured with Disney on Ice as a soloist for about 4 years. I got to do a world contract. And throughout that process, I realized that I wanted to start a company that really knew the performers and no one was a number. Like I wanted to know everybody first name. And I started this, I come from a grassroots background with no trust fund or no one helped me start this company. It was really me on my own, trial and error. And I started about 10 years ago, and I've just hustled, and now we're in some of the biggest venues all over the world, from Dubai to Orlando to Taiwan. Been very lucky, of course, and with the business just continuing to grow, and it's great to be part of something that was built by myself and not had help by anybody else.
No, that's amazing. And you say you were lucky, but is there such thing as luck, or is it just people that work really, really hard and then things kind of just seem to drop into them? Because I know you work really, really hard. Like we've had a couple of conversations.
I mean, like, I know that, like, I feel very blessed, and like it is very hard to be an ice skating producer when this is a niche business.
Yeah.
So every time I get a new gig, I feel super grateful and blessed, and like maybe it's a mix of luck and a mix of hard work, but I really I'm just lucky to get to do what I love every day, which is awesome.
No, that's amazing. So if you'd never skated, like what do you think you would be doing right now? Like what would you have done, do you think?
That's a great question. Like, obviously, you know, my runway model career did not take off. So I probably would still be in entertainment. I feel like I'd probably be a performer at like Disney or something. Like I love to perform, or I loved to perform, um, or a behind the scenes job in entertainment somewhere. It's
Yeah.
kind of where my heart is, and it's cool to be able to entertain people and like have people leaving shows and just being like, wow, like I wish it never ended. And so anything that had to do with that, I'd want to be part of.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So did you dance when you were younger?
Um, I did a little bit of dance, like as cross training for skating, but not like anything serious. No.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's really important for skaters to dance. You know, like when you can tell, like personally, if you watch skaters, you can tell skaters that just skated. Like I started dancing from age 3. I actually danced for 10 years and I started skating at 11. So it's you can tell you can tell, not that I'm saying I'm like, you know, a la-di-da or anything, but I think it's really important for, I'm sure you can tell when you get skaters that come to your shows, you're like, oh, they're a dancer. You can just tell the way they move, right?
It's their lines and their presentation that you can really tell. And I do think that doing dance does definitely help. I didn't enjoy doing ballet, but it definitely helped my posture in skating. So, you know, it's definitely a great way to cross train to build your skating technique.
Definitely. Yeah. I didn't really enjoy it either, but
Yeah.
no, I'm like, I
And
was a
I did
dancer,
it.
but
Yeah,
I didn't
I
like it.
pushed through, I whined
Yeah.
the whole time, but, you
Yeah.
know, I did see a difference in my skating from it.
Well, they say the magic is the things that you're avoiding, right? You know, that's where
Mhm.
the magic is, you know.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
all right, let's get into it, Alex. Let's get into it. So, what led you to be a producer? Like, let's really get into it from like skate from like, I'm going to be a producer and this is what I want to change and this is who I'm going to be and this is how we're going to act and this is our ethos about around ICE creative entertainment. Let's go.
Yeah, for me, like, after I did Disney, I worked for some other producers, and got kind of burnt. One producer, like, didn't end up paying me, but it was a whole thing, and I sat there and I was like, "This is ridiculous, and people deserve to be treated better, like, it's a job." So I was like, "I'm gonna do this on my own. I'm gonna treat people better. I'm gonna make sure that my cast is number one. Of course, I have to appease clients, right?
Yeah.
But my job was a skater company ran by a skater. Obviously, I have you know, a business sense, and it's hard to find somebody who can be artistic and know how to run a business. But for me, like that's the main thing I want to start this business on was I didn't want to screw people the way I got screwed,
Yeah.
and I just felt like it was getting a little too much like that, and I was like, I'm gonna just go for it and see what I can do to turn things around for performers.
Yeah. Do you think sometimes some shows, like businesses, you have little mom and pop shop, and then you have
Yeah,
Walmart. You know,
yeah,
sometimes when they get a little bit too big, then they're so disconnected. The people making the decisions are disconnected, and then you
yeah,
lose that touch and feel from your family, your skaters. You know, so it's. I mean,
yeah.
how has that been from going from the beginning, having your first show when you're like, this is how I'm going to be, to now having 10 or 12 shows kind of
Right.
all at the same time? Like, how has that been? Has that been tough or?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like every day I learned something new. I mean, my first 5 years in business, um, were learning lessons, and I learned a lot, and it was difficult from the beginning, and like there were things that I didn't do right, that I didn't know, and
Of course.
now I've learned from them, and I genuinely try to improve from there, and I would say the last 2 years I've really started getting a real grip on the whole picture. There's a lot going on, but for me, just like you, having so many projects at once, like I give every project equal amount of focus, and I still want to touch everything. Like I'm not disconnected at all,
Yeah.
but which is important to me. But yeah, to go back to your question, I just feel like it takes a lot of learning to get to where you are, and I'm not I'm not there yet. No one's, in my humble opinion, is there yet. You're learning constantly, and that's kind of,
100%.
yeah, that's
100%.
kind of where I'm at. And I can admit it though. Like I'm not like,
Yeah.
no, I'm the best and I did it, blah blah blah
No.
blah blah. Like I'm
Yeah.
learning and I learn from my mistakes. And like even though we've been in business for 10 years, I still feel like it's growing pains and learning lessons. And
Yeah.
you know, we're still like a new business.
Oh, exactly. Well, the thing is, if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough, right? You're not pushing
Right.
hard enough. You're not pushing the envelope, trying new things. Like I fail at a lot of things, but I learn from them, and then okay, and we rebuild and we rebuild and we get better. And I
Yeah.
think it's weird when the outside people that don't understand exactly why you're doing and what you're doing and where you're trying to go in your journey, then just try to like point it. Oh, why are you doing that? It doesn't make sense. I'm sure it has happened for you, right? You've had this.
All the time. And
Yeah,
listen, this is what I tell my team. You know, remember when you had a boss and everything, you know, they said you didn't like, and just because like, you know, you didn't like having somebody telling you what to do. Like I get that all the time. Like
yeah,
I'm sure a ton of people hate me and I'm sure a ton of people love me. I do business different than other people, but you know, I never loved my bosses when I worked. And so I get it that people are gonna pick you apart, and I'm used to it. And like some of the picking apart I've learned from, and some of it I think is like super unprofessional. But
yeah.
I just, you know, go with the flow. And if they don't like me, then they don't need to work with me, and that's fine.
No, yeah, that's totally fine. Sometimes you learn the most from your haters because they point out all of your faults, and you're like, "Thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you, thank you. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'll fix
yeah.
it." And they're like, "No," you know. So
Thankfully, it's not like, thankfully, 95% of who work for me has worked for me multiple times and come back. But, you know,
yeah,
there's always that 5% that, you know, I just can't handle it. And
yeah,
you know, with me, I try to keep my performers like happy at all times. Like they come to their first contract, there's a welcome gift with gear and snacks for rehearsals and check-ins. And we, you know, I want to go above and beyond. If we have a long rehearsal day, we're going to cater food, you know, things
yeah,
like that that I would have wanted when I was on tour or when I was
yeah,
working for other companies. I try to give back. Yeah, could I make more money and buy a new shiny, I don't know, necklace? Yeah,
yeah.
I could. Or could I keep my cast mentally sane and fed and happy? Probably want to go in the happy and mentally sane direction, you know? So
Exactly.
for me, yeah, I lose money, but I keep people happy and feel appreciated, and then they work harder. And I
No,
appreciate
exactly. The thing is, I feel like we're very similar. Like we're playing for legacy. It's a marathon. We're trying to change things and do something different. And and when people judge you over days or weeks, we're
it. Mhm.
thinking over decades. We're thinking
Yeah.
where we'll be in 10, 20, 30 years from what we're doing right now. So it's people are going to talk because they don't understand. Like
And I
the
wear
kids
like, I
right
like definitely, unfortunately, wear my heart on my sleeve sometimes, and I take it very personal. Like I'll never forget, never. Like I remember names of people who submit like bad reviews on shows. Like I've had like a few, but you can't please everybody. But
yeah,
this one skater sent me this nasty message, and I'll never forget. And he was like, um, "And your subpar shows." This is like 5 years ago. I'll never work for you and your below par
yeah,
shows.
yeah.
Like, oh, okay. And now he's like, probably, he's auditioned since then, we'll say that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But like, that's another thing, like in this business, like, you don't want to burn bridges. Like, I've learned the hard way, like, younger, like, you got to watch what you say to people too. Like, even though you're angry, and you know, I've done it too, but it's a small community. And
Oh, 100%.
producers, I think something people don't know is like all of us producers do talk. Like I will call Roston and be like, have you worked with this person? Or I've called Jeb and been like,
Yeah.
hey, like what are your thoughts? Or vice versa. And you know, I'm not gonna lie and be like, this person was amazing to work with, because if they weren't, I'm not gonna ruin somebody, of course, but
Yeah,
like,
of course.
you need to be honest when you reference people, and other producers have been honest with me and saved me. I've never worked with these huge disasters of people by any means, but we all do like talk and lean on each other, which is cool, and it's a cool community that we can do that.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? Because like most of my career, I was probably an absolute nightmare for everybody.
Yes, same.
And
100%.
but you know what I've realized why? Because I am a natural born leader. Like what I do in crypto, the things I do, I can't have a boss. I can't have it. I have to be the boss. That's why I've
Yeah.
found my niche now, corporates and the things that I do, where I'm like, I can lead and you're a leader, you know? So if you have someone dictating what you can and can't do and you don't agree with the rules or whatever,
Mm.
like that, you know? So it's, you just have to find your place in the society, in the
Yeah.
show business, and etc. And it can take 20 years. It might take a while, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I still like I constantly tell my team like just because we have all these huge venues right now doesn't mean we've hit our peak. Like
Yeah.
we still need to continuously grow to get to the next peak and the next peak. And like I don't feel like any business is ever reached their peak. And you know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure some does have,
Yeah.
but like I'm always looking for the next peak. And I think that that's important in growing.
Well, 100%. Like, I don't know how it is for you. Have you ever climbed a mountain and then gone, I'm happy here? And
Um,
then you start doing like stupid things. Maybe you start drinking or eat, you know, you climb a mountain, you've got to find the next mountain. Because as men, we need progress. We need progression. We need to be moving forward and setting the goal line further. I personally think this is what I've learned over the years.
yeah, and I think as anyone, like it's important to grow and have that focus. Personally, like I don't hike, but
Oh, I
like
don't.
I understand like the mountain thing and like that's good.
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
don't.
but I think for anybody, guys, girls, cousins, sisters, brothers, like whatever, if you have that purpose, like you're saying, like then you can continue to grow. But it is finding that drive is very hard.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, because everyone's different. I heard something like the things that make people champions is because they're broken. They don't have an off switch. Because I
yep,
listen to a lot of motivation stuff, and I'm like, it's so relatable to me. Because I'm
yep,
like, I would be quite happy. Just, I'm like, can I just spend a few weeks just to be happy to be average and not have to try to be the best all the time? I can't help it. You're trying to be, you know. I don't
yep.
know if you're as insane as me, but
Oh,
it
like
seems like what you're doing, it's
yeah,
like you have that, you wake up and you work. You go to sleep and you wake up in the night and you work. Right?
yeah.
Is
Oh,
it
I'm like the full blown.
relatable?
Yeah, I need like a doctor 24/7, like to
Yeah.
deal with me. Like I was like we were talking about earlier, like my best work is done between like 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. I will like literally lay there and email myself reminders of things to do or
Yeah,
ideas.
yeah, yeah.
But that's like, I'm in it and like you're in
Yeah.
it and like you care. And when you care, and that's what happens. So I wouldn't have it any other way though.
No, that's amazing. Okay, so let's see. So what? All right, let's change. Let's segue a little bit. So, what are the best parts of being a producer, and then what are the worst parts? The things that people just wouldn't even know you have to deal with.
Oh my. So I think the best part about being a producer is truly especially in like the way the world is today. This wasn't my original like goal, but like for people to be able to come see one of my shows and escape reality for whether it's 30 minutes
Uh,
or an hour and a half show, um it's important and it's cool because I'm very hands-on. So like our touring shows, like I'm there
yeah.
for most of the shows. And like I always, instead of going backstage right after show, I sit in the lobby and I listen to people. And like for me, when people, my biggest compliment for me is, like I said before, is like when people are like, God, it flew by so fast. And like, I just wish it was longer. And like for me, that's like, yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
for people to be able to escape like the crazy reality we're living in is really a great bonus of being a producer. That wasn't my main goal, but it's kind of turned into that. Another benefit of being a producer is, you know, I love to be able to bring my creations to life, which is difficult, and sometimes I'm on a very limited budget, so it's like getting creative and
Yeah,
being able to pull it off. Um, and sometimes I'm given the world and like be able to really pump out a dream.
yeah.
So it's great. And another thing, like as the company's going, like to be able to give jobs to other people is really important to me, whether they're a
Yes,
skater
yes, yes,
or
yes.
on my like team. Like I have a team of 6 right now, like basically full-time people. And for example, one of my entertainment managers was my assistant 8 years ago. So to be able to grow people's careers to what they are too is really exciting for me. The worst part,
Is the list that long?
I'm trying to limit it to the most appropriate things. Dealing with truly like, again, 95% of performers are a joy to work with. But there are that 5% that make my life very, very difficult and very stressful. And it's not fun. You're babysitting and you're paying somebody to do a job, but you're babysitting them to do the job. And for me, like, I can't do it. Like, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Another bad thing.
What would
It's really
yeah, go ahead.
No, go. I was
gonna say, what would be your advice for those people, that 5%? If you could just put it out there, no names, just a few bits of advice for them.
With me, like I tell a lot of people, like attitude trumps talent. So if you're doing a double toe loop and you have a great attitude, a great personality, I love it. But if you're doing a triple toe loop and you have an attitude, like I would choose the double toe loop over the triple, if that makes sense. Like I'd rather somebody come in that's positive, loyal, a great performer and professional. They'll get the job every year than somebody who comes in and makes it very difficult. And, for those people, I guess it's just like to remember, like you have a job to be able to do what you love, and you are ruining that for yourself. And usually it affects the rest of the cast too.
Exactly.
There's always one bad apple. But my casts are strong and a lot of them have worked for me for many years, and they've navigated, okay, well, if there's a bad apple, then you can be a bad apple over here, but we're still going to enjoy our time. That's why I love, every cast I have somebody on it that has worked for me for years. That can really make sure that doesn't happen anymore. But in the beginning, it happened a lot and it was very difficult. So I guess my advice is to just like be grateful that you have a job, that you get to do what you love, and enjoy the moment instead of finding things to complain about.
Yeah, I mean, that just comes down to people, right? Some people, no matter the worst thing happens, and I'm like, wow, that happened. There must be something around the corner. Like every time I got bad injuries, whether it was in Disney, whether it was in the cruise ships, is that I went on to do something that I would never have thought I would have done. So, but some people, even when something good goes wrong, oh, something bad's going to happen after. It's like, well, why?
And like, listen, don't get me wrong. When I was on Disney, I was a little brat, like 100%. Like, and do I regret that? Oh, yes, absolutely. Like I had a little bad attitude, and for the first year or two, and then then it chilled out once I found my place. But I regret that, because I bet you more doors would have opened if I hadn't. So just stuff like that. Like, enjoy yourself, have fun. Like, this is a fun gig and it's a once in a lifetime is kind of my advice.
No, amazing. So let's just talk about the shows that you actually have right now, if you can remember them all.
Well, Christmas is going to be insane. We're doing SeaWorld this year. This is our 6th year, I believe, doing SeaWorld in Orlando. We took on Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, which is an amazing venue. We will have Gaylord Opryland Resort in Nashville, which a lot of skaters don't know about, but it is shows 10 25-minute shows a week. You're living in a 5-star resort with free food. So it's like all that cast, I know,
I'll
back every year. They want to come back every year because it's a literal paid vacation.
Wow.
So that's one of the good ones I have. They're all good. I'm working on a show that's top secret, but it will be at Disney. And I have a arena residency show in Vancouver that I did last year, Nutcracker on Ice. Hugely successful. That's coming out. And then Dolly Parton Stampede shows. I have skaters in Branson and in Pigeon Forge. And then on top of all of that, I've ventured into non-skating shows as well. So I have entertainment 365 days a year at a new theme park that's opening in Puerto Rico. So I'll be doing Halloween and Christmas there, as well as some other Cirque shows coming up that are under wraps right now, but it's amazing to be able to expand into different things as well.
Oh, amazing.
So I'm gonna be busy. I'm gonna be living on
Yeah.
airplanes.
I feel like I'm like, oh, Puerto Rico. I docked
Amazing.
there with Royal Caribbean. Also, I was there with Disney on Ice.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I'm like, maybe one day.
it's
I'm
such
like,
a great culture, and
yeah,
you know, the talent there. Like, I was like, oh, these are dancers and singers and actors.
yeah,
I was like, I'm gonna have to bring people in, and I watched one audition and I hired the whole group. Like, they're triple threats there, and they're
yeah.
young and they're hungry, and their talent. It's unreal. So I'm excited for that project.
No, amazing. So something else that we didn't touch, and I wanted to ask about. So, uh, how does it work negotiating a contract, a budget, etc., etc., etc. for shows? Because I see all the time people shows in Costa Rica, etc., etc., and offering $1,000 a month, and I'm like, is your budget so small that then you're paying people pennies? I'm like, it's not 1995, like $1,000 a month. I'm like, but people do it because they want work. So then
Right.
these shows keep going on, and I'm like, and then I talk to people on these shows, and like the conditions are horrible. We're doing like a 25-hour drive, backstage and all this stuff, and I'm like, how can
Yeah.
I make things better? I don't know. So
I've got a lot of skaters. I've got a lot of skaters from a producer that does a tour in the States. Like, it like plays like not theaters, like convention halls. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about. It's like not good money, and they're living in campers and with no. I remember one of them told me they had no heat in the winter. So for me, like, my touring show, which is a public domain character show that is a theatrical, it's amazing. It's a theatrical show, like it's like Broadway meets ice skating. That tour specifically for me, I get the cast like a rock star tour bus, like sleeper beds, like kitchen, champagne coolers, microwaves, like everything, bathroom. I don't make money on that touring show, but what I do make is I love the experience for people. And what's important for me is um, traveling safely and honestly in style. It's a blast, and taking care of performers needs to be number one. Because if you have performers that are being treated like crap, then they are going to perform like crap. So that's important for me. As far as like negotiating contracts or whatever, like I'll take things that I'll be able to pay like a fair salary. I've never in my life paid $1,000 a month. I think that's
yeah.
handy land.
You know what's funny? You know Hot Ice in Blackpool? You know the
Yeah,
hot ice, right? So
yeah,
my biggest goal when I started skating was to get into hot ice. When I was 17, I couldn't do a double axel. I spent like all my time trying to get a double axel. At
yeah.
24, I got into hot ice for £250 per week. I worked it out for the amount of hours there. I was earning about £8 per hour. Over the 4 years, I did £250, £260, £350, and £480, doing 12 shows a week, multiple jumps, and that's England. No insurance, no nothing, anything. So I've been there because people will do it because they want to do the show, right? You're like, I don't care, do it for free. So
I get it. Like, I
well,
think any of our contracts, well, I don't know. I don't want to talk money, but it's
yeah,
not like, even if you're brand new to shows, like people always ask, why don't you list the salary on your castings? And it's like, because it's based on experience. Like, I'm not gonna pay a brand new person who's never done a show $2,000 a week. It's just not gonna
yeah,
happen. But I pay everybody a livable wage, and there are ways for them to save money on every contract. I usually negotiate with my clients a food deal, which means they have access to free food or at least a kitchen where they live. I've gotten huge fights with clients over it. Like, we
yeah,
need a kitchen, we need this, and I don't think performers know that. We really go to bat for them with stuff like that, with the food
yeah.
deals, kitchens, or catering. Like, it's important.
Of
So
course.
I really negotiate what I know I can usually get for them
Yeah,
if the money is like meh. But I don't think any of our contracts are meh money
yeah,
by any means.
yeah. It's hard. I mean, it must have been hard in the beginning when you first started, before you had anything behind you
Right.
when you went in to negotiate. It's like being 18 and you try to
I,
chat
Yeah.
up girls or boys or something, you're nervous. But then once you know you've got a stock of proof of who you are and what you've done, then the confidence comes, and then it's much easier, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting creative on things that won't really cost my client money, but will keep the cast taken care of. So yeah, I'm still learning for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. This was the one I asked you before. Like, who inspires you, or do you have a mentor, or where does the drive come from, to do what you do?
Sure. So that is a great question. I grew up watching Stars on Ice. So obviously Scott Hamilton creating that show was, amazing to see. And I loved going as a kid. Like, it was just so magical. So I think the whole Stars on Ice brand kind of opened my eyes. And then, I have a few people I look up to that mentor me. Rob Blake is a famous magician that does some big shows, and he's always helping me. Doriana, she shares choreographer. She was a judge on So You Think You Can Dance and a choreographer. I've really leaned on her for a lot.
Yeah.
And just people like in the industry that are kind of do what I do, but in a different way. We bounce off each other. So growing up, I guess maybe Stars on Ice, but for me too, like, I know this is full-blown crazy. I try not to watch any other ice skating shows. Because I don't want to copy anything. Like, I want it to be my own idea.
Yeah.
So there's not a show that I looked up to, but of course, like, I loved the Disney vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally get that. When you want to be 100% authentically you, and you don't want outside sources to affect your judgment and your ideas, I totally get that.
Right.
But I've actually watched all your shows, and I know where you copied your ideas, so you're lying. So, this is a fun one. This is a fun one. So, if you could change anything in the skating industry, what would it be, and why?
Oof. Okay, so there's a couple of things, I guess. You mean show skating or like figure skating in general?
Well, show skating. You're a producer of shows. Let's talk about the shows. Let's talk about this. I know we do want to touch on the CV, and we're going to show my CV, etc., just to give. But the floor is kind of yours.
So the question is what I would change in the skating world, or like other producers do?
Yeah. What would you do?
There's a couple things. One, I think that weighing in performers in 2024 is disgusting, truly. And I know producers that do it, and that a lot of skaters have told me have caused them a lot of heartache and a lot of issues. I think that's completely like screwed up. And I only hire based on like talent and attitude. Like, I don't care about size ever. So that's one thing. I think the other thing, just selfishly, like all these shows, like, I don't know. A lot of producers have a lot more shows than me. So like the Disneys and the Willie B Tech. So it's hard for me to be able to find like skaters sometimes, like especially boy ensemble skaters. Everybody just wants to go to do the Disney dream. I don't know what they could change with that, but that makes it a little bit more difficult, but I always find them, and like we're good for this season already, which is great. What else would I change? I don't know. I don't like when people don't know the names of people that work for them. I think getting to know everybody is important as a producer because you can build on their strengths and their weaknesses. So that's another one for me. But other than that, I mean, I like to take a new age approach, and a lot of them are not that right now. So that's kind of tough question, but
no, for sure. So, well, here's the thing, right? So let's imagine you've got new skaters that have come to perform with you. Do they all know how to count? Do they know wheels? Do they know kick lines? Do they know guiding?
No, absolutely.
I've got all of this already on Showskaters, right? So this is the goal for me, to have all the tools and information, everything on Showskaters, so people can come on there and then they can start learning. You know, it's growing slowly. Obviously,
Counting is important.
yeah,
For sure. We are really good. Like the best talent we'll pull from is like synchronized skaters or national
exactly.
showcase.
This is the best.
Yeah, specifically national showcase is really good because they have to be actors and like guide. But if there's a diamond in the rough, like I'll take the time to teach them, or our choreographer Katie will absolutely take the time to pull them aside and work. The cool thing with us is everybody that works with me is like a team player, especially like my core team. So if there's a weak link, they're not going to be like bye. They're going to be like, all right, let's work with you after this. I know I had a line captain at SeaWorld,
Yeah.
that would take the boys that hadn't, that weren't getting it quick enough, and he'd really work with them. And an off time, and another line captain as well, that would do the same thing with the girls. And we work with people that have great attitudes, and we see that could have a future with us.
Yeah.
But yes, they should know.
No, for sure. But like great line captains, like shout out to all the great line captains. I remember Daryl, Smack, Scott McDonald.
Mac was my line captain.
Yeah, it's like good.
No,
line
he was my PD. He was my PD.
Good line captains that just want to help, and it's like I don't know how they are now, because there's some that just don't care, but there's some that they care, and it makes a huge difference to the morale of the dressing rooms.
Oh yes, I don't give people line captain like off the bat. Like they have had to work with me for years, so they know how I work and they know what's important. And I mean, I can't speak for anybody else's, but mine are very, very involved on all steps, like from pre-production to post-production. So yeah,
amazing. So when you're putting a show together, before you talked about, sometimes you don't have big budgets and you have to kind of squeeze it out, or how much of the process do you touch? Like, are you down to the choreography, to the steps, to the costumes, to the lighting, to the theme, to the, how much of it is you and how much of it you employ someone that does it, or you just, this is my idea, make it work?
So in the beginning, like I would say the first 5 or 6 years, I did everything, like from choreography to figuring out costumes. Now I've got to the point, and I'm very blessed to have been to the point where I can't be everywhere at once, and we have a lot of shows that open at the same time. So over the past few years, I've really built a very strong team of people that can choreograph, that can deal with costumes, that can deal with the business side, line captains, script writers. I touch everything. My process is usually like, we get a show, I'll write out like what the flow should be, what the direction I want it to go in, some keywords, I'll get references for music, and I'll send it to my team who know how to translate the craziness that I write down on a piece of paper, which no one understands ever. But I have a few people that get it now. And then I'm loyal to my people. So Katie Garrity is a great example. She choreographs most of my shows. Script writing, I have a guy named Peyton, who's a junior script writer who's kind of new with us, but is killing it. I have entertainment managers that manage things. So I do know what's going on. I approve everything. But I trust my team to be able to implement that. And sometimes it's, most of the time it goes very well. And sometimes I learn my lesson. But I just don't have the time to touch be at everything, but I am very involved.
Yeah. So that must have been quite a big process mentally to go from doing everything to then trusting other people to do it as good or almost as good or hopefully better than you. It's hard, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I never thought that I would not choreograph one of our shows, but it's been years. But, I luckily keep people that do good. And so I'll come in, though, of course, like after things are choreographed, and make changes, I feel appropriate, but I'm not going to come in and change shows. But I think that that's normal. I want to let them do their thing, let them do their creative. And then at the end, I'll come in and be like, okay, this could look better, and let's change an arm here, or this may not work. And then we work together as a team to make it work. But so that's kind of how I roll now.
Amazing. So obviously I haven't had the pleasure of seeing any of your shows.
Oh, damn.
Do all of your shows have a story? Or does some of them have a story and a theme, and you kind of go along and you, like a Disney show, right? You kind of following along the story. There's a rhyme and
Yeah.
a reason for everything. Are your shows more like this, or some of them like this? How does that work?
So a lot of our Christmas shows are more or less story based and more like review variety based.
Yeah,
Because for the holidays, people just like I call it flash and trash. They want to see the tricks. They want to
yeah,
see the fun skating moves. But there are shows that I have that are story shows as well, a couple Christmas shows. And then, our touring show is the big story show where we, like I said, we take the public domain story and modernize it and twist it. Like some of our shows have been like pop and rap kind of, and
yeah,
all different types of ways, but those are more of our storylines,
yeah,
those theatrical experiences.
yeah. So I guess it's knowing the market, right? Knowing your audience, giving them
Yeah.
exactly what they
And it
want.
takes time to learn. Like, of
Yeah,
course, like it took me a few years to figure out what the Nashville audience likes. It's
yeah.
upbeat music and it's tricks, period. They don't want to hear a story here. So it's just learning.
Amazing.
So
So, how is the current casting process, and how could it be better, in your opinion? How
um,
how could skaters do it better? Make your job easier, and how could producers make it easier for skaters?
okay, couple things. Um, I think for me personally, you have to read the casting notice. So just because you see an email and a casting doesn't mean you fall within what's being asked.
Yeah,
So that's number one. Number two is this is my biggest and it kills me. Please, when you send an email to get hired, I get a lot of emails that are blank emails that just have an attachment of their resume and video. Like,
oh,
you guys,
I'm going to show mine now that I've.
yeah,
So this is a
this is a perfect
yeah.
CV. Yeah,
So in Showskaters, there's a blank version of this. So basically, you have who you are and a picture, so they know who you are. Then just have your details in here. And if you aren't, go over here. Sorry, I'm not even on it. So let's see
no,
if
I
I
see.
can make this bigger. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So you'll have all your details: weight, height, home airport code, show experience. Just list your last five. You don't need to put the last 30 years of your career. Social
Yeah,
media accounts, YouTube, your links, etc. All the relevant links. Just so people
perfect.
get a sense for who you are, right? Quite
It's
easy to
perfect.
do. Takes 10 minutes, right? So,
And it's super helpful for us, but like if someone's gonna send me a literal blank email with a link, like
yeah,
I'm not really interested. Like I need a personality, I need a hello. First of all, I need to know that you're like able to be professional, which if you send a blank email, like that's applying for a job without saying, "Hi, my name
yeah,
is blank. I would love to work for you this year." That's like going to CVS and being like, handing in a video. Like to me, it's another level of Candyland when that
yeah,
happens. Adam, it happens often.
yeah. I
Just
mean,
crazy.
so here's the thing, like, because I run multiple discords, and I have people come in, they open a ticket and they want to do a collaboration. One person will come in, hi, how are you doing? This is our project, here's our links, Twitter, Discord, website, etc. Another person will come in, want to collab. I just close the ticket. I'm like, what are you doing? This is a business, this is investing, this is money. Like,
Yeah,
would you
it
go up to
takes.
a girl also in the bar and go, hi, 1, 2, pack?
Yeah, like
you
I.
know?
It's it takes 60 seconds
Yeah,
to write an email intro. It's not me being like a brat about it, but like guys, 1 + 1 = 2.
yeah,
Like if you want a job, you need to say who you are, where you're from, why you're applying. Period.
100%.
I'm not gonna hire somebody that doesn't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
And like I know that that seems crazy, but in the grand scheme of things, to me, that shows me you're not professional. You don't really know what you're doing, and you don't really care.
exactly.
I might be your seventh choice, and I've got a lot of people that have been like, "Dear Disney on Ice," and I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
change the dear. Like, I don't need to know I'm your last choice. Like,
Yeah.
it's just silliness. And that's important. That's my number one pet peeve. Other than that, it's just, this year I have a casting team, which is awesome. This year, Brielle Francis and then Matt, who's my business partner, have really handled the casting this year. So I really hope they did a good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I trust them, and they know what's best for the shows. So it's exciting that they get to put their hands in it as well, because they are managing the shows for me.
Yeah,
So
no, that's amazing. And this
yeah,
comes back to like how you do one thing, you do everything, right? It's
yeah,
like when someone writes you a really nice email, you're like, oh, I want to, let's go and check their Instagram and let's see who they are, And
yeah.
like
And I don't
nowadays,
need family history here. Like,
yeah,
I don't
no,
need
but
a long ass like email, but I need, like you said, like, oh, okay, they're human, they're
yeah,
really interested, and they're giving me a little bit more about them. It's
yeah,
like exactly like you said, it makes us want to explore more into them.
yeah, no, exactly.
And by the way, a DM on Instagram is not the way to apply for a job.
Oh, for a job.
Personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, I'm interested, like, that would be great. And then, like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
send you an email, or what's your email? No problem. But for me, like, I need emails because we do have many people that audition. So
yeah,
being able to make sure we document it appropriately too, because we might not use you this year, but for sure we could use you the next year.
yeah.
So stuff
No,
like that. I just think that it's just basically audition professionally.
100%. Oh, this has been quite good. This has been good. We've got
I
48
mean,
people watching live. It says here. I don't know if that's across everything, but this is
okay.
the most so far. So I think they're enjoying seeing you, Alex, which is amazing.
Well, it's
Amazing.
just hard when you're like, being a runway model and a child actor. People. No, I'm just kidding.
That's it. Home Alone.
No, people used to say that to me like a long time ago,
I
and I would.
I only just now clicked. Only just, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as auditions, I think that's my casting. That's my one thing. And don't audition if you're not available. Like we've offered people jobs. They've been like 100%, and then their deadline to sign, like the day after, would be like, never mind. And I'm like, you just burnt the bridge, guys. Like, that's, to me, that's shady. And I don't do business like that. So if you want a job, apply for it. Like, you are available for it. That's my one thing. But I think that's it on the casting.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on. So, what are your long-term goals as a producer?
Sure.
And do you have? Yeah. What are your long-term goals as a producer?
I think for me, it's been really fun to move out of just ice skating. So to be able to be like in all forms of entertainment company, which we are. I mean, truly, we are. We're doing cirque shows, we're doing music shows, we're doing strolling entertainment, corporate entertainment. We really are doing everything, TV. But I think that's my goal, to just really expand into that. We are, in the last 2 years, we have tripled business. And it's just navigating that at this point. But that would be my main goal. I want to give more people jobs. I want my staff to be more full-time hours. And it's, again, I love being able to give people work that really deserve it. And I feel like I'm pretty chill as a boss. Like, I'm sure my employees would absolutely disagree with that 100%. But I think I'm pretty chill. Like, I let people work from home, do what you gotta do as long as you get your work done. So for me, being able to give people more jobs and really expand into all forms of entertainment is my goal.
Yeah. Interesting. So, like, this kind of springboards onto this. So you don't have any inline figure skating shows currently. Have you done any?
I have. So, actually do. I lied to you. Oh my gosh, I forgot. It's not really a big show, but at Disney Springs, we'll have pick skaters skating around in like really cool LED or artsy costumes all throughout the holidays. We did Halloween last year. We just did 4th of July, and we'll see about Christmas this year. We've done it the last 8 years. Although it's not like a big pair show, it is pick States, and then I got asked. I actually pitched a show for somewhere in China, which I was telling you about, which was an
Yeah.
all-wheel show, which was pretty cool. But they didn't want to pay the performers what I felt like they deserved, so I did not end up
Yeah.
moving forward with it. But you know, wheel shows are cool, and like I'd love to get more into that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like obviously you know what's coming, you know. So I
Yeah.
envision in the next few years that inline figure skating to really blow up. You know, being able to like basically take your blades off and put your frames on the same pair of boots, it's going to be a huge deal, like for shows. So, you know what's funny? Like when I wrote the thank you to producers and I wrote it out and he understood the
You
process.
wrote that.
Yeah, I'm like that. I never want that. I can't imagine to do that. But now, over the past few weeks, then you know, talking with Ixana, I know I'm talking to you. Like, there's ideas. Like last year, no, 2 or 3 years ago, I did this massive online competition. 80 skaters, inline figure skaters, all around the
Yeah.
world, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. And I'm like, now with Showskaters, I'm like, I'm going to do the same thing, but maybe in a year's time. The online, the first part would be like online, and then the top
Yeah.
three from each category would then do a live show. This is just an idea. Imagine we did a live show, and like people that I met, like you and Oksana and whoever else I meet, will then work with me on this. But then we'll have legends in the show. So it'll be a competition, but it's splicing between these amazing skaters like a Tom Collins, a Stars on Ice, one of something like this, but then working with certain people. And we would just do this big show wherever. It's something I want to do. First, we have to build one skate. So we have to build Showskaters. We have to get to that point where we can do that. But I've already done the online part. I did it. So I know I can do that part. The real life stuff, that's not me. That'll be you, dude.
No,
That's
it seems fun for sure. I think
so
that it's another way to expand skating. So I'm
100%,
into it for
100%.
sure.
You know, like I think this is where we, you know, almost like we're the new generation. Like, you know, it's like yes, there is a pro skaters. You know, it's been there for a long time, and then people may say that show skates is similar, but it's just different. It's moving into a different
For sure.
different world. Like I'm like I'm going to be using crypto. The crypto, my project is funding One Skates. You know, that is going to One Skates is basically coming from a crypto project that is going to change figure skating forever. Like when people are wearing our skates in the Olympics, they're going to say, "Oh, it's from Project One Skates, which is a crypto project on Cardano." That's where I'm going. It's like for people that don't understand crypto, it's fine. You don't need to understand it right now, but you're going to need to understand it later when we get there, kind of thing. So, you know, doing it different. Why not, Alex? Why not?
Love doing things different. I'm all about it. Take
100%.
risks, do your thing. It's
I'm
amazing.
trying to think, is there anything we haven't talked about? Is there anything that you want to specifically talk about? Or is there any questions you have for me whilst I just scan my questions here?
I think my big thing was the audition stuff, which
Yeah.
I covered well, I think. No, I don't really have anything else unless you have any other questions we can bounce off. I feel good though.
I mean, it's been really good. I mean, we've still
Yeah.
got 51 people still on. I'm just wondering if there's anything here. You know, is there anyone that you feel like you haven't mentioned that you want to kind of give a shout out to?
Um, I'm trying to think. I think I got choreographers, staff. No, I think, I got it. I just think, to sum me up, like, it's amazing to be able, like I said, like anybody, can do what they put their mind to, but it's amazing to really be able to really do what I love. And, very lucky. And I think that we're a company that you can grow with, and we're not just hiring ice skaters, we're hiring people to grow with us. And we're not like gonna bullshit you and like be like other companies that be like 2 more years of you being Pinocchio and you're gonna get it. Like, no. I'll straight tell you, if you have what it takes, I'll let you know and we'll train you. But again, I have skaters now that are writing shows for me
Yeah.
and on the production team, and that I want to build people from within. So I think that's really kind of the reason I wanted to do this and share that info with you. And, you know, I think what you're doing is great. And I'm excited to see what happens in the future, for sure.
Amazing. You know, you bring up Pinocchio. Do you know Isao Matsura?
Understudy.
Is
Yeah,
he still Pinocchio now?
No.
Oh God. Yeah, because I was on D20.
I was on D20 too.
Really?
I did Japan break work, and then so I was his understudy and the dash understudy, and then I came back as the dash track.
So yeah, I was there when I was from 21. I'm 43 now, so 22 years ago I joined for 3 years.
Oh shit, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I was like on the Olympic cast, like they were all Olympians and everyone was popping out triples. Fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, I was just
It was a good time. I enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed being on break work with no responsibility. That was also fun at 20 years old.
Yeah, amazing. I just feel like getting into it a little bit naughty. The things going through my mind here. It's just I don't know. But it's not about me here, is it? So it's about you. I just, you know, like talking to you.
Yeah.
Something switches on in my mind, and I just want to get like really down into it.
Yeah, I mean, I got my partying out on Disney on Ice break work for sure. It was fun, and now I've done it. That was probably for 2 months for me was like enough for 5 years. Like time of my life, no responsibility.
Yeah.
Like I literally was in 2 ensemble numbers and then just a backup. So that was a great time. But yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of I think that is kind of everything. Oh, here's an interesting question. So
Sure.
is there any shows that you didn't do that you're kind of like, I would have been cool to have done that show? Maybe not the whole thing, just to experience being in that show.
There was a show a while back in shoot, I forget where it was. Do you know Kristen Doherty?
Don't think
He
so.
did it. Oh, Hong Kong. It was in Hong Kong. I think Jeb did it, and then Willie
Ocean Park. Yeah, I did it.
Park.
I did it.
I always loved to do. Yeah.
Oh, I've got a funny story about that.
Well, she told me the schedule was out of control.
Yeah.
Like it was too different. But
yeah. So I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing with shows for everybody. Every single show in the world, there'll be great things and there'll be bad things. Like Royal Caribbean is great. You go to the beaches, etc. But then you live like a prisoner. You live in a tiny little cabin. I was lucky. I did it always with a girlfriend, my partner.
Yeah.
So we made a little home. And then the girls, they make nice little pink and it smells nice. But if you go there as a single guy, as a boy, you're with another guy, you're in prison. You open these doors, not all of them. Obviously, the gay guys make it nice, but the straight guys, you open the door and it's like, how do you guys live?
I couldn't.
Always like this. So Ocean Park was amazing. Like, here's a funny story for you, right? So we're in there. It was plastic ice. I did double axle on it. I was so happy. We're running a number. I had to do a single axle. I landed a single axle. My foot slipped. I landed on my left ankle. I thought I'd snapped it. I thought it was snapped. I'm like 1 week into rehearsals. I'm like, I can't go home. I've just arrived in Hong Kong. I've got a 3-month contract. I've got a lot of fun, a lot of things I want to do here in Hong Kong. Luckily, Jeb was, and I need to have Jeb on here actually. Jeb was amazing. He said, sit out the rest of the rehearsals, just watch and learn. And then I watched and I learned, and I did the shows. I was in a lot of pain for like the first month because I ended up just spraining my ankle.
Yeah.
But it was, dude, I would not wish that on anyone. You know, so
I think
plastic ice.
Yeah. I want to talk about plastic ice, and then I want to talk about an injury I had. I'll go injury first.
Yeah.
I was on Disney, and somehow I fell and like tweaked like I don't even know what, something in my shin or something, and I like could not. The next day, like I couldn't even do a waltz jump, and Disney didn't have an understudy for me, and they were like trying to force me to do the show, which like I'm telling you, Adam, I couldn't even like tie my skates. And finally, 2 principal skaters in the show, Natasha Kuchiki and Jamie Loper, were like, no. And if they didn't stick up for me, I would have like really been messed up. And I ended up like tearing all these ligaments, and I was out for like a few months. And without an understudy, and it was just like, oh my God, that's something I wouldn't ever want to do to anybody.
Yeah.
So that sucked. With plastic ice, though, I do want to say, like, we have a partnership with Global Synthetic Ice. They are like, literally, I cannot express to you it. I know people get scared with plastic, but it is the closest to real ice you will ever get. I had a girl that was terrified, and she went out and did a double loop within the first 2 minutes. And a double loop is an edge jump. So imagine that on plastic. I've seen backflips, I've seen triples. It takes an hour. This stuff is so good. You don't need to spray it. Like, it's unreal. So there's that like stigma about it, where it's like, oh, I'm not doing plastic, but actually this stuff is good, and it gets you more work, and I understand, like, real ice is preferred, but if I could do plastic, this is the stuff. And we do our touring show on it, and no skater has ever been like, oh, this is like difficult or anything. Like,
Yeah.
so it's the new age. Like, clients don't want to spend $500,000 to freeze over their stage. So I think people need to be more open to that. And like, I get it. Like, I get the stigma, but like, also, I don't know, man. It's the way things are going right now, and I see it being used a lot more in production. So
yeah. Well, this is the thing, we've got ice, so then you can have plastic or you can have on wheels, right? It depends what you're looking for aesthetically. It's like, it just depends. I have actually done skated on a white floor it was pig skates that were silver, and I had white wheels. And video,
cool.
It just looks like I was on ice. So it's
send
like,
me. I want to see that.
Yeah, I'll have to send it to you. But I think we've just touched an hour, and now we're just treading water. We're looking to things. We just want to talk to each other, I think. So I think we'll wrap it up. If you've got any kind of closing remarks or anything you want to say, otherwise we'll close it down there. I think it's been an amazing conversation. We'll have to do it again. Next time we'll have lots of drinks, and we'll really get into it.
Yeah, no, I have nothing. I think it went well, and like, I was happy to share my experiences, and like, I'm sure, we'll do this again. So I appreciate it.
Amazing. So thank you so much, Alex. So I'm going to drop on a little video. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to our third episode. In about an hour, I'm talking to a potential fourth guest. I won't mention her name, but she has been to the Worlds, and she's also a choreographer for world and Olympic skaters. She's been to the Olympics as well, sorry. So, producers, Olympic, world skaters, we're just starting so high. I don't know where we go after this, but it's been amazing. Thank you so much, Alex, and we will talk very, very soon in DMs. And bye for now. See you in the next one, everyone. Ciao, ciao.
Hey. Yeah.